Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Thursday. It's Thursday, and we are continuing our series here, Ten Commandments. This is number 10. So, accordingly, the title of the video is the 10th Commandment, freedom from coveting and the path to inner peace. Desire is part of being human. We see something good in another person's life. The relationships, possessions, achievements, or qualities, and something in us reaches for it. Not that we want goodness in our lives, but we want what they have in their life. Okay? And that's the difference, right? It's okay to see someone with a job and say, hey, you know what, I should get a job. It's not okay to say, hey, that person has a job at that company doing X, Y, and Z. Now, I want the job at that company doing X, Y, and Z. In fact, I want to be sitting in his or her office. That's what I want. I want that person's car. I don't want my own car. I might like that model, but I want that car. I want that person's thing, right? So it's a weird type of uh it's like a obsessive selfishness. I want that pen. I want that chair because it belongs to that person. For some reason, I probably would think that that thing there is a source of happiness in that person's life. And if I had that same exact item right there that that person possesses, it's going to bring a sense of happiness to me. When that reaching becomes envy or restless craving, it quietly erodes peace, gratitude, and the ability to live fully in our own lives. The 10th commandment addresses this inner movement with profound insight. You shall not covet. It is the only one of the 10 commandments that deals primarily with the heart rather than with outward action. It calls us to freedom from the restless desire for what belongs to others. Today we explore principles, power, and effect of the 10th commandment and why mastering the heart's tendency to covet is essential for personal peace and the larger work of redemption. This teaching is universal for every person who has ever compared themselves to others and felt the sting of wanting what is not theirs. Rooted in the eternal Torah and illuminated by the deep wisdom of Chassidic masters, we will discover that freedom from coveting is not repression. It is the gateway to contentment, clarity, and a more generous relationship with life. The 10th commandment states, you shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that belongs to your neighbor. Unlike the other commandments, which focus primarily on actions, this one reaches into the inner life of desire itself. The Torah recognizes that outward sins often begin in the heart. Coveting is the root from which many other violations grow: theft, deception, resentment, and even more serious harms. By addressing the desire directly, the Torah seeks to heal the problem at its source. The commandment also affirms a deep truth about human dignity and divine providence. Each person is given a unique portion in life. To covet what belongs to another is, in a sense, to reject the particular path and gifts that have been entrusted to us individually. The Torah calls us instead to a posture of trust and acceptance, to recognize that what is truly meant for us will not pass us by, and what belongs to another is not ours to desire. In this way, the 10th commandment becomes both a boundary and a path to inner freedom. Chassidic masters saw the 10th commandment as one of the most profound spiritual challenges. The Baal Shem Tov taught that the tendency to look outward with envy is a form of spiritual distraction. It pulls the soul away from its own unique mission and from the awareness that God provides for each person according to a higher wisdom. In Chassidic thought, coveting often stems from a lack of bitachon, trust in divine providence. When we truly believe that what we need will be given in its proper time and form, the restless desire for another's portion begins to lose its grip. The author Rabbi emphasized that refining desire is central to the work of the soul. The same energy that can, when redirected, become aspiration for spiritual growth, generosity, and deeper connection with God. It's important to understand that nothing is given. Maybe opportunities are presented. An opportunity, like when you meet someone, right? Whether it's work, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a business endeavor, right? If the meeting, it's that person is an opportunity, right? But unless you actually do like take action to initiate and make it happen, God isn't going to sign a contract for you with the business, terms, right? And like, it's going to manifest in front of you, and like, the business is just going to work, right? Then God presents opportunities, right? Um, no one throughout history has ever just sat around and waited, right? Uh, The commandment is not asking us to suppress all wanting. It is asking to purify the direction of our wanting. Instead of craving what belongs to someone else, we learn to desire more closeness with the divine, more refinement of character, and more capacity to give. When this transformation occurs, the heart becomes lighter. Comparison loses its power. Gratitude becomes more natural, and the soul is freer to fulfill its own unique purpose. This inner freedom is itself a form of redemption, and it contributes to the collective healing of a world often driven by envy and competition. Now, okay, the principles and power of the Tenth Commandment carry deep spiritual significance for every soul. It restores inner peace. Freedom from coveting quiets the restless comparison that steals joy. It cultivates trust in divine providence. We learn to accept our portion with renewed faith and less resistance. It protects relationships. Envy damages connection. Contentment allows us to celebrate others without resentment. It elevates desire itself. The energy of wanting is redirected toward growth, giving, and spiritual depth. It advances redemption. A world less driven by coveting is a world more capable of generosity, gratitude, and genuine happiness. How can we live the spirit of this commandment in daily life? Notice the moment of comparison. When you feel the sting of wanting what someone else has, pause and name it without judgment. Practice gratitude for your portion. Regularly acknowledge what is already present and good in your own life. Bless the success of others. Actively wish well for people who have what you desire. This weakens envy at its root. Redirect the energy. Turn the feeling of longing into motivation for your own growth or into prayer for greater clarity and trust. Limit exposure to triggers. Be mindful of environments or media that constantly fuel comparison. Strengthen trust. Remind yourself that what is truly meant for you will come in its proper way and time. Yeah. Or, I mean, just more simply, what belongs to someone else is theirs. Um, right? It's their job, it's their relationship, it's their business, it's their house, it's their, lawnmower, right? Whatever it is. Um, and so, like, you can't have it. I mean, this is how it goes. It's not yours. And to think that it's a source of joy to that person, well, that person's living a whole different existence than you are. Their mind and their how they function and who they are, how they is going to be different than yours, right? So that piece and that person's puzzle works for that person, right? And you thinking that you're going to get that piece and it's going to work for your puzzle, not necessarily, and probably not. Okay. The Tenth Commandment, rooted in Torah and reading with Chassidic insight, offers a profound path to freedom. By learning not to covet, we release the burden of comparison and open ourselves to gratitude, trust, and the unique purpose that belongs to us alone. This week, notice when envy or restless desire arises. Choose one moment to practice the opposite. Blessings. I like this idea here, right? That by learning not to covet, we release the burden of comparison and open ourselves to gratitude, trust, and the unique purpose that belongs to us alone. So each of us is on like our own um, trajectory, our own, literally our own path, right? Every step we take, every movement we make, every word, right? Every single day, we are a functioning node in the universe, right? And so your node is unique to you, and your node is necessary. That's why God put you here. And so we got to vibe at our own node, and honestly, if you want to vibe higher, if you want to, right, you follow the commandments, you follow, like good things, do good things, do good unto others, right? A sincere duty for God, and um, you know, looking to live according to that belief that there is a creator and sustainer, and that there is goodness that is created from us, and the opposite is also true. But the point is that you gotta be your own node, okay? This week, notice when envy or restless desire arises. Choose one moment to practice the opposite, blessing the other person, giving thanks for your own portion, or turning the energy toward growth. Trust that these small acts of inner freedom matter deeply. See, buddy, if this teaching resonated with you, share in the comments. How do you work with feelings of comparison or coveting in your own life? Now, again, it's probably healthy to say, "Hey, I want a job. Hey, I want I mean, everything is within its own context, but it's okay to want like categories of like necessity that are just common in everyone's life. Like it's okay to want these things. I think when we say in the Psalms, God is my shepherd, I shall not want. It's God is leading me according to my path, right? Vibing, I'm growing and vibing at my own thing here, my own node. I shall not want outside of the node, right? That doesn't mean I don't want healthy relationships. You can want healthy relationships, and you should in fact pursue them. Doesn't mean you shouldn't want shelter. You should want shelter. There's basic things that you need, right? If you live in Arizona, likely probably, or somewhere, yeah, there's you need certain things to function. You need food, right? I shall not want no, you need food. There's like basic things. So when we like quote verses, we have to understand that God didn't isn't like trying to extract our soul from us. Like he gave us our soul in this world to function in this world, right? And to do it appropriately. But that doesn't mean we have to like extract our soul from the body and like throw the two aside. And like the whole point is to elevate the body. Okay. If this teaching resonated with you, share in the comments. How do you work with feelings of comparison or coveting in your own life? Right? Like if these words brought a sense of relief and clarity to your heart. Subscribe for more explorations of Torah and Chassidic wisdom made alive for our time, and turn on notifications. And that goes for everything, health, finances, work ethic, whatever it is. Like all these things are your own to make. And like looking at someone else and saying, well, wanting what they have isn't going to give it to you necessarily. Okay, may your heart find rest in its own portion. May you celebrate the good in others without losing yourself. May your freedom from coveting become a quiet force for peace and redemption. Until next time, release the restless reach, trust your path, and let contentment open the door to deeper joy. Yeah, that's true. All these things are true. All right, everyone. Have a blessed day. Happy Thursday. Be healthy, be happy, be blessed. And I'll see you again tomorrow for another one. Thank you.